Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. There's some big breaking news. We're not quite sure what's happening. We've come live, but there's various different reports suggesting that David Moyes is currently very much on the brink of being sacked, with apparently Rafa Benitez being lined up as a replacement. We're just trying to get as much confirmation through as we can. The news we currently do have is that Betfair have suspended the odds for David Moyes to be sacked. They believe the sacking is imminent. We're just trying to get some more confirmation of it. Mike, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I'm shocked because I thought he might just get the Everton game, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
I thought he might get the Everton game, and that would be it. You know what I mean? And there would be no coming back from that if we'd lost that game. So I just thought, but like we discussed yesterday, Jake, it'd be papering over the cracks. If we did win it, say we scraped the 2-1 win or whatever, there's still a lot that's got to be done, mate. There's a lot that's got to be sorted out. So I think it had to happen.
Yeah. Oh, it did. It certainly did. So we're just trying to get as much confirmation through as possible. Then I think Phil's going to join us as well. Phil, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I hope you're all well. Sorry if it's a bit hard for me to hear, hard for you to hear me today. This is a bit shocking news if it is all confirmed.
Yeah, not quite sure, but your sort of overall thoughts on it. And if we all thought if he's going to be sacked, it would have happened on Saturday night, but it seems that it could be now time.
Yeah, I think that we needed the result on Saturday, which we didn't get, and obviously more pressure is going to build up. But if we leave it, later and later, it's just going to get worse. A bit like it was same when we had Avram Grant as our manager, isn't it? So I think if he ain't sacked now, it's definitely going to be after the Everton game if we don't get a result. That's for sure. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Let's take some of your comments, get them into the chat. What's your thoughts? Let me stress, this isn't confirmed, but there's plenty of sources out there saying that Moyes is on the brink and we could see a replacement such as Rafa Benitez is the name that's being chucked out there at the moment. Let's take some of these comments. Mick says, I would have picked Deitch out of the ones we could have got. However, it can't get any worse than it's good. Moyes out. Championship is also nice. Time to go. Bye-bye. Says Martin. In Rafa we trust. We'll talk about that in just a second. From I hope you're well. He admitted in a podcast he could have signed Alvarez at Man City last January and said no. Yes, I did see that.
I saw that.
There's one thing doing it, but there's another thing going and admitting it on a podcast. Tom, hope you well. Please be true, Jake. We don't know. Not quite yet. Mark, not Benitez, please. Is this how far we've come? We need a younger, more energetic boss. Is it true? Please, God. Football has changed so much. Let's scroll down. Will, hope you're well. Everybody getting into the chat. Let's take some more of these. Neil, hope you well. Neil from rural South Australia, which is a Moyes free zone at 4:38 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Hope you're well. Good morning, Neil.
Good on you, Neil.
Needs to happen, but not Rafa, please. Rafa, we don't trust. Jay says, what about Zidane? He's not managing anyone. Is he? In terms of Rafa, then Mike will come to you first. It's an obvious name to get us out of a relegation mess, but is it for you?
Not for me, mate. I'm sorry. Not for me, but yeah, a change is needed and it's got to be someone. And like I said yesterday, we know we're not going to go for the type of... I said I'd like to see Tuchel come, but I couldn't see him coming. Pochettino, no chance. I mean, yeah, you got to lower your expectations a little bit, I think, With also, we're in, there's no doubt about it. We're in a relegation fight now.
Yeah.
It's someone new's got to come in. Full stop. He's not my first choice, but there could be worse. There could be worse.
Yeah, just for an update from people watching in the chat, what's currently going on. So no major sources have yet confirmed, but a couple of sources. We're not quite sure of the sort of reliability of them, including Betfair, who, as I mentioned earlier on, have suspended the odds for Moyes getting sacked, have suggested that Moyes will be replaced by Rafa Benitez imminently. Your thoughts on Rafa Benitez, Phil?
Now, many years ago, I would have taken him because at the time when Slaven Bilic became a manager, Rafa was actually the first choice that I wanted. But that was in 2015, and we've come a long way from then. Rafa's obviously done his bits with Real Madrid, Newcastle, Everton, China, and all that. And I think we've got to change it up a bit. Don't go for someone who's a bit of a has-been now. We do get someone more higher profile like a Tuchel or Pochettino. That's pretty good. But at the end of the day, as big as we are in that relegation battle, and sometimes go for a change with someone younger, fresh ideas. That's what you need.
Yeah. I think it screams a sort of Sullivan special though, Mike.
Good, thanks.
Benitez, to get us out of a mess. Screams Sullivan to me.
It does. But I'm shocked because I didn't think they'd do it till Saturday or after Saturday. I thought they'd look at Saturday because honestly, I didn't think they really wanted to pay him off full stop. But if they have, then I can't knock them for that because, I really, really thought that it would take a little bit longer yet. And even if we'd have won the Everton game, do you know what I mean? And it had been poor performance again, then maybe still even get rid of him because if a new manager comes in now, it's still got a chance to get maybe. I don't think he's going to get a lot of money, but maybe some loans. He's got a few contacts.
Yeah. So
he might have been able to drag a couple. They might be able to drag a couple of players in to help us out, even if they are only loans.
Yeah. Let's take some of your comments in the chat. Keep them coming in, guys. We need to regroup, says Martin. Refocus and keep the players up for the fight. Fremen says that's the thing, isn't it? We want Moyes out, but we're afraid of who's going to come in. Do you think he will be sacked tonight? I really don't know. I really don't know. We're hoping to get some reliable West Ham source to either confirm or deny this very, very shortly. But yeah, Twitter has just gone into an absolute storm because of a couple of sources have said that the imminent departure of David Moyes is coming, and Rafa Benitez could be joining the club in the next day or so. So we're just waiting for some news on that. Change.
Usually no smoke without fire, Jake, to be fair.
There's not. Yeah. So we don't know, there's got to be some strength and some sort of true nature in it somewhere, Mike, isn't there?
I would have thought so. Yeah, I would have thought. Yeah, he you could tell, with his comments and everything after the game, he knows deep down that he was walking a tightrope, and that was a result we just couldn't afford to have in the drop in that bottom three after spending the amount of money we've spent this year. I mean, it's poor. It really is. Like I said, when you look at our squad on paper, I know football ain't played on paper, it's played on grass, but at the end of the day, that squad of players should not be in that position in the league. No. It does come down to confidence thing, and it's been drained away, but we've been just too negative, Jake. We've been too negative. I think the fans could forgive him if we'd have gone out there and had a better go at teams and tried to attack teams a little bit more and maybe lost a couple of games. No one's turned us over. We're not getting beatings, but we just don't look like winning. We just don't look like hanging in there and then snatching something. We look like hanging in there and losing something all the time. It's just not working.
Yeah. Oh, it's not, and it's quite clear throughout the fan base that we need a change. That is for sure. So, of course, interesting reports. If you're just joining us now, we're hearing that David Moyes, according to some sources, they're not as reliable as we'd like currently, but we're trying to get some clear evidence about whether David Moyes is on the brink of getting sacked. Tom says, not sure about Benitez, lads, but anything for a change, please. A lot of people say no draft for it. It's interesting. I don't know. I prefer somebody like a sort of a young manager. Tedesco is the name that people are putting out there, and I did actually earlier on film a video about that, but that might have to be halted now because of this. So, somebody like that, and somebody made the comment, I can't see Sullivan going for a younger manager. That's the thing, And Tom says I would prefer Dyche. Just coming back to that, there, you just can't see Sullivan picking one of those sort of managers out over a tried and tested, proven Premier League manager that's going to keep us up.
You know, at the end of the day, how long is Rafa going to be there if he does go? Do you know what I mean? Realistically, we need someone that's going to plan for the future, you know? Maybe he could be on a short term, you know, and if he keeps us up, great. Then we might be able to mould someone else into that, you know, young manager, a young coach with new ideas and someone that's looking towards the future. That's what I'd like to see. But, you know, it's no good if we drop into the Championship, especially for them. I mean, Sullivan, he's not stupid. You know, his stocks are going plummet. I mean, what if we drop down? So, you know, I mean, he might have to spend a bit. He might have to, spend a bit, get a bit back.
The whole thing people are saying with it, Mike, is because they might want to get a manager in to keep us up because, you know, the big thing was that Sullivan, obviously now with the passing of David Gold, Sullivan was going to try and sell the club. If we go down, the price goes right down, and he won't like that at all. If he tries to sell the club.
Good to him at all.
It's within his interest if he wants to sell the club to get a new manager in.
He's going to have to speculate to accumulate on this.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's certainly a difficult one, and we're going to bring you everything live we see over the next however long to try and get a clear answer out of it. You know, people in different sources, we're not quite sure how reliable they are saying, understand West Ham have been made aware by Rafa Benitez as representatives that he would be interested in replacing David Moyes. Benitez has a number of admirers within the West Ham boardroom. Sources believe Moyes' dismissal is a matter of when, not if. So that's just coming from another source there. So we're going to keep them coming in. Keep your comments coming in. We'll read you out. It'll be a fan forum. Let's see what happens over the next half an hour or so with this. Is he getting sacked today? We are unsure. Your guess is as good as mine. Liam says, anyone watch the interview by the Diary of the CEO? I've seen it. I haven't watched it yet. But obviously, we've all seen the revelation of we could have signed Julian Alvarez, who of course has now gone to Man City. He's got to go, I agree. Is he gone soon? We'll have to wait and see. He's done well for us, but now it's time for a change. I don't want him to get sacked if we replace him with Rafa. Sorry, but we'll get worse with Rafa. Do you think if it's Rafa or nobody, who would you take? Keep Moyes or Rafa, Mike?
I just think a change is needed anyway. Rafa is not my choice, full stop. No. But I think the change has to come now. It's gone too far. It's too long. You know, it's too long, like I said yesterday, since we've seen a good fighting performance out of that team. You know, one that the fans could get up for. Yeah, we've got up for 20 minutes here and there in games, but not for prolonged periods in games because there's been nothing. There's been nothing. Okay, I know the fans haven't been great either, but you've got to get a bit of feedback from the pitch. You know, someone goes in, makes a tackle. You remember the day at Villa, you know, when Rice went in and made that tackle, you know what I mean? Things like that get the fans up and they get people going. And those sort of things just haven't been happening, you know. So, yeah, I mean, it's a two-way thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. So we're just still waiting on something to come through here. Rapidly refreshing Twitter, the most I think I've ever done in my life. But let's take some of these comments. Moyes off to the Everton job, or maybe the Scotland job. Who knows? Lampard to go tomorrow. What do you think about Stevie G? I would like him for 5 months. Now that is one that I'd stay well away from. Rafa Benitez. He's got the sort of. You know, he's got the experience there. Yes,
he's got the experience. He's got the know-how. I mean, he's been there and got a T-shirt. I mean, no, I don't think Gerrard would be a fit with us, to be honest. No.
Not for me. Neil says yes, but just watched it a little while ago, Liam. Moyes is full of contradictions. He knows all of the theories, but we all know him through his practice that two don't match. He's just full of contradictions. You're bang on there. Like, you know, it's bad enough saying no, I don't want Julian Alvarez, but then going on a podcast and saying it, for crying out loud. Just why? Why?
You're better off just staying stum over that, aren't you?
Yeah. It's just like giving fans some more fuel to add to the fire about it. Like, why are you coming out and saying that? Hammerhead, get him gone. Phil, I think we're having just a few internet issues there, but he says, I'd rather not Rafa, but if he is chosen, then we have to support him. Here, Martin says he has ruined some relationships with the older players for us. All players need replacing when their legs to go, but his loyalty will be his downfall. Isn't Moyes the oldest manager in the league? Think he's so wrapped up in the old school system. He can't change, and that's the bottom line of it.
Yeah. It's fresh ideas, and he can't do it. He seems stubborn to me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And even if some of his coaches were in his ear, I wonder whether he'd take any notice. I don't think he would.
Yeah.
I think he's just stubborn, and he's just going to do what he's always done, you know.
Yeah,
it's a shame. It's a real shame.
Yeah.
I just wish he could have tried something different and give the chance for the fans to say, "All right, he did have a go at that." You know, we went and attacked the team. You know, before 80 minutes. So, but he hasn't given us a chance to say that. Really, I don't think he's just been too negative.
He has been, yeah. Fremer says, I know he's at Newcastle now, but someone like Eddie Howe I would love at West Ham. Sharky says, I'm not sure about Rafa. I've rated him in the past, but at Everton, he was awful. Yeah, I agree. Hamid says, news broke earlier that Arsenal's number one target is now Declan Rice. Not sure about that. I can't see them after the whole Mudryk thing in the last day or so pulling up that sort of money, but it's something we're going to have to seriously consider, and we've got to pull our eyes out and really realise if we're going to be given £80+ million for him, in my opinion, then I think we've got to take it in the summer, Mike.
Oh, definitely. He's going to go in the summer. I think we're all ready for that. You know, we all know it's going to happen. And, he's been a great player for us. And, you know, we just, enjoy the last few months of him playing because he's still trying to do it. It's not his fault being chucked in as a captain. I don't think he was ready for that captain's role. I think it was too much of a jump from Mark Noble to Declan Rice. I mean, he's watched what he's done and whatever, but he was just not the right person at the right time to take the captain's job in my mind. But, I'm not knocking him because he's been fantastic. Yeah. I think he's the best holding central midfielder, one of the best around. Him and Rodri are probably two of the best.
Just for a bit of an update on the Moyes thing there. So people are putting on Twitter now that David Moyes is now 1-5 to get sacked through Sky Bet. And just for a bit of context, Frank Lampard is 5-1. 1-5 and 5-1. So there's a massive difference there in sort of positions that you'd say are reasonably similar. The bookies are definitely going after Moyes being the next manager sacked. So we're just going to have to play the waiting game and see what happens. This could escalate tonight. I don't know. We're just going to have to hopefully wait. Hopefully, X has got home from work and he can do a bit of work and provide us with the update that we need. But yeah, we're just awaiting something substantial at this moment. So what about Vincent Kompany? I'd take him in an absolute heartbeat, but I don't think he'd leave that Burnley project at the moment. Keep up the good content, my young Hammer friend. Thank you very much indeed. Who's the most likely to replace him at the moment? It looks like Rafa Benitez, my friend, but who knows? Paul says the squad looks bereft of all confidence, in my opinion. Bailey, hope you are. You're right, lads. He has to be sacked for you. For you, I feel so bad for you. Hopefully you stay. Thank you very much, mate. AVB, Tuchel, Poch. That's my three young managers, and they know the league. They certainly do. Rafa wins trophies. To be fair, Europa Conference League winners confirmed. He's won trophies in the past, Mike.
Oh yeah, I mean his track record speaks for itself. I know he's had a dodgy season at Everton, Newcastle. He didn't have any money to spend at all. He didn't have a lot of quality, did he? Yeah. But he got him back up into the Premier League, didn't he? So, I don't know. I could. He wouldn't be my choice, but I could warm to him. If he changes things and gets things going a little bit different. He is quite defensive, really, to be fair. But maybe there'll be other little bits and pieces that he can put in, to make that team play better on a Saturday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I tell you what, though, somebody just made a valid point on Twitter. West Ham's downfall has been since West Ham Clips stopped posting the alternative commentaries.
Yeah, true. I know.
Peter says Rice will go in this window of Moyes. If Moyes go, to give the new manager funds. Yeah, need to give that new manager some funds there if they come in. Robert says, just seen Pierre Ekwa has gone on loan to Sunderland. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Both are crap coaches. Would you agree with that? Both of them? Moyes and Benitez?
Well, I don't know. I'd like to see someone younger, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be totally honest.
Yeah, definitely. Graham says West Brom's manager has been good. A couple of people have mentioned this. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he seems to be doing very well in the championship there.
He's turned them around
any day. Aston Villa fan there. Don't get Steven Gerrard. Rafa to bring in Benzema. Liam says if we're going to go down the route of Gerrard, go get Bill. It was all him at Rangers, not Gerrard. I agree. Rather have Bielsa or Benitez, Mike.
I don't know with Bielsa. It might be a little bit too much the other way.
Amazing or awful.
I mean, you go from one extreme to the other, then, mate. I'm afraid, and I don't think our team's quite equipped to play like a Bielsa team does. Well, our squad of players probably aren't equipped to play like he wants to play, because that is, 100 mile an hour. I mean, we got certain players who wouldn't be able to keep up with that.
No. Let's take some more of these comments. Nigel says Vieira, Company, Poch, or someone younger and ambitious on the pitch. Graham says he's done brilliant at West Brom, might get promoted from a relegation position when he started. Give him a new contract. There's some nice crowns in League Two. NWO says we are still playing pre-season pace, 19 games into the season. We're halfway through.
Yeah,
I've been factoring not as of yet confirmed. We're still waiting for a reliable source to confirm this. We've got various other sources saying these things. A couple of betting accounts have suspended the betting of that, so it's all going a bit crazy at the moment. So we're just trying to keep up with it. It's your boy Dan. Rafa is a bit dodgy, to be honest. Can't be 100% trusted after his Everton job. Definitely. Luke, hope you're well. Steve Bruce is available. Bruce or Benitez?
We'll probably have to say Benitez. Yeah, I would. For sure.
The point with Everton, Graham says, nobody does well at Everton. It's toxic, and you've got to admit, he was atrocious and sent Everton in the complete wrong direction, which was his last job, I believe. So you've got to take that into consideration.
I mean, things have been going downhill a long time at Everton. I mean, we've always been up and down, haven't we? Let's face it. I mean, I've been following this team for over 50 odd years, and we've always been up and down. But the last couple of years, I thought we're stabilising ourselves as at least a mid-table club, and that squad of players should be at least mid-table. I'm not saying they should be any more than that, but they should be at least mid-table. Yeah. So, but Everton have been slipping, haven't they, for a long time now? Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it just seems to be the common denominator of failing managers who've gone to Everton is the club itself, Everton. So, I don't know. West Ham Faithful says, if it was Betway, of course, our sponsors, not Betfair, I'd be more interested. If Bruce becomes manager, I'll start supporting the Spurs. Only joking, of course. Moyes won't be sacked before Everton. I'd be inclined to agree with you there, Trini. But we're just going to have to wait and see whether we get any sources sort of back this up or deny this. Vinay says Moyes should have gone months ago. He would have been remembered fondly, not there as a bitter aftertaste. You either die a hero or you live long enough to be a villain, Mike.
Yeah, you do, mate. But I can understand why he had a bit of credit in the bank, and they've given him a chance, and now it's got to that stage where he's had that chance. Yeah. He's been given that chance, and he's had that chance, and it's gone now. Because sure. A new manager, if they bring a new manager in, he's got to have at least half a season, which he will have half a season. It's unfair to bring a guy in, with sort of 10 games to go and expect them to keep you up. you know, when you're struggling like we are.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think honestly, Mike, that there's going to be anything coming from this?
I think that there's no smoke without fire, like I said, but
Yeah.
I'm really shocked if they did do it before Saturday's game.
It doesn't make a lot of sense that they should have sacked him on Saturday night, done, you're gone. Or they're going to give him that Everton game, which we all presume was going to happen now, but we're now sat on a Monday night thinking, a couple of people have mentioned that, you know, we could see him being sacked tonight.
Yeah, but perhaps he has been told he's got the Everton game.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of it could be. And, you know, a lot of people then said, oh, you know, we don't think they'll win that game and that will be the end of him, you know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's speculation.
So it's just running along the bottom of your screen now, the sort of situation and where we're at. Frema says, I'm going to the Everton game. Hope it will be without Moyes, but I'm cheering them on anyway. Budgie, hope you're well, my friend. Ange at Celtic, some people haven't mentioned as well that Ange Postecoglou's done a good job up there. It's a completely different story up in Scotland, but who knows? Who knows? Jay says, everyone wrote posts about Moyes coming in at first because he wasn't great after leaving Everton. Wasn't a great manager at all, but I love what he's done. So don't write Rafa off. Yeah, I'm definitely not in the position to write managers off after Moyes has come in, Mike.
No, definitely not. I wouldn't write him off at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
you know, he's got a track record that's pretty decent. He's worked with top quality players in the past. He's also worked with not such good players as well, and I think he's the sort of guy that maybe could get a tune out of some of these guys that are just at the moment are just doing nothing for us.
Yeah. For sure. Squirrel Squad says the next manager will have to work with what we've got rather than starting over again. Moyes is 1 to 4 to be the next Premier League manager sacked. Happy Hammerat, I hope you're well. Bill has just got the Rangers job and won't be leaving anytime soon. That is for sure. Betfair betting suspended on Moyes. It certainly has. Never seen Gio so angry on Hammer's chat today. Mike, have you got a favoured pub for the London Stadium? I think Frema's asking. The best pub at London Stadium around.
For me, well, we usually go in there, 2 or 3 different bars, you know, in around Hackney Wick.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's where my daughter lives. The White Post is the nearest one to where she lives.
Just have a sort of gander around and see what you can find from her. There isn't a hell of a lot there, but there are a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
Kent says Benitez doesn't excite me. It's a long time since those days at Liverpool. Ange Postecoglou, Thomas Frank won't be coming. He's just signed a new contract, but Ange Postecoglou is certainly a name that should be up there. It will be Nolan with Pearce back and Noble in the background. Happy Hammerat says, really thought it would be the Everton game before it got sacked. I'm not sure I believe it. Yeah, I'm not sure where I'm at. Listen, if West Ham post a corner flag now, I'm going to be shocked. But I don't think it's a million miles away currently, and the club are obviously considering it. Otherwise, things like this just wouldn't come out. And Mike, you're right. There's no smoke without fire there. So it's an interesting thing to sort of talk about. Is Parker available to the rest of the season? He's gone to Club Bruges. That's a write-off there, I'm afraid, mate.
Yeah.
Adam, the West Ham fan, says we need a massive change. Moyes has got to go now. It's time for a change at West Ham. It certainly is. Hit the like button and subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you haven't already. Hit the like button is the most important thing. Of course, subscribe as well. Please sack him. Many people are saying the comments have just skipped there, so I'm just going to scroll back up. Yeah, just plenty of people. Plenty and. Neil makes a point in, no one wants to come. We're a laughing stock. Do you think that's right at the moment? You know, managers looking at it and thinking, let's stay away from that sinking ship, you know?
Maybe some are, but I mean, it's a big opportunity for the right sort of guy, to be honest. You know, and if it's true what they said, Rafa's quite happy to take it. He would like to take it. Well, I mean, he's a big name, isn't he? He's a big name in the world of football. So, I mean, yeah, there would be certain managers that think, don't know about that, you know, where they are in the league at the moment and the way things are going there. But there may be guys going, cool, look at the players they got. I can get a tune out of them. And I'll give it a go. And especially in the relegation zone, if they got us out of it, we're still in the FA Cup, we're still in the Europa Conference. I mean, so there is a bit of plus there for a manager who wants to have a real crack.
I've just got a bit of news through, and this is the first solid bit we've got through, and it's going to disappoint many of you, I am afraid. Now, it's coming from, I'm just trying to find it because Twitter has just skipped again. It's coming from Football London and Jonty Coleman, who's actually going to join me tomorrow night for an interview to talk all things. Well, it was going to be Moyes, but I think it still might be that. And Jonty Coleman of the Football London has said, understand that despite the talk of Rafa Benitez replacing David Moyes, it is wide of the mark at this stage. Moyes still set to be in the dugout this Saturday. So that's coming from Football London, which is more of a sort of reliable source than what's currently coming out. It's not ex-WHU employees, so we will wait for the sort of solid thing of that. But he's a pretty reliable source. Football London, they're pretty good, and it's currently saying that news is wide of the mark, which will be disappointing to many of you, Mike.
Yeah, it will be, but it's not shock because I couldn't really see him going before Saturday at the earliest. So we'll see, And, wonder what would happen if Saturday they rock up and win 4-0.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a fickle old game, Jake. It's a fickle old game. And
it is.
If all of a sudden we rocked up and we just, everything we hit goes flying in the top corner, and then we play with a bit of confidence and whatever, some people might change their mind.
Yeah, for sure. And Jacob Steinberg as well has just mentioned Declan Rice. He just put it to out and said Arsenal's interest in Declan Rice is completely true. Been bubbling away over the last few weeks, and it seemed as a more likely move for the West Ham captain than Chelsea. Arsenal definitely have the money, especially with the Champions League qualification looking a formality. So that's a reliable source confirming Arsenal are interested in signing Declan Rice. We're just waiting for a bit more news about that. But as far as we're aware, Football London have said that this is pretty wide of the mark. So that's just what we're currently going off at the moment. So we will just have to wait and see. Is Rafa a coach or a manager? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I don't think he's a real manager. He's more of a coach than a manager, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how he'd be with someone that might say, there you are, this is all you've got. You know what I mean? You've got to get on with it. You've got to be a coach then, basically, and a proper manager, really. You've got to manage your players then. I don't know. I think, for me, he is probably more of a coach.
Yeah.
Some of his ideas always haven't gone down well with me, but, he's had success.
Do you think it's much of a change if we do bring Benitez in? Because we've talked about it massively, Mike, is we need a new voice in that dressing room because the voice currently is just not working at all. We need a new voice there. Do you think the negative football that Benitez plays will make a massive difference if we bring it in?
Yeah, I don't know. I think a new voice would make things so different. Do you know what I mean? He might be negative like Moyes is, but it's still a new voice and they're hearing new things. He's bound to have different ideas on how he wants to play. There may be similarities about a lot of his coaching, but it's just that new voice that's needed. They need to hear something different. I think, the players are just not believing in what they're hearing anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so evident of that, and we do need a change in the news we're hearing currently. It might come down to that El Sacico next weekend. Who's going to get sacked first? Is it going to be Lampard, or is it going to be, in fact, Moyes in the end? I don't know. Let's take some more of your comments then. Thoughts on Martin Key? Ridiculous comments on Talks, but honestly, the video is 5 minutes. I watched about 2 minutes of it and turned it off. I just can't be listening to him. And driving.
I haven't seen any of it.
Driving driving back from Wolves, West Ham fans getting increasingly frustrated with Gabby Abonlahor on TalkSport saying, but hasn't Moyes got credit in the bank? Infuriates fans, and they know what they're doing there. But I try to not pay too much attention to it. Please, can we just get a young and upcoming manager? From says, we're not a laughing stock. Moyes has shown what can be done, and managers are backed. Is there a single chance of Rice signing a new contract at this stage? I don't think so, not at all. To be honest with you, if that's just my opinion. I don't know nothing.
The thing is,
I mean, do, mate.
Some teams are going to drop out of this race, aren't they? And one of them, which we all thought he would go to Chelsea. I mean, it looks unlikely they're going to get in the Champions League. I mean, and he's saying he wants to play Champions League football. Yeah. At the moment, realistically, he ain't going to go to Newcastle. At the moment, it's either, and Liverpool are struggling as well. They may not get in the Champions League. So it's then between Man City, Arsenal, and one other that, Man United probably. And just coming out as well. So Jacob Steinberg, quite a reliable source when it comes to West Ham news. Football reporter for the Guardian has just been asked what's happening with Moyes, and he's just simply put he is getting more time. So it seems we're seeing more and more reliable sources coming out denying this claim. So it does seem like Moyes is going to get more time, and it seems like that game at Everton is just going to be absolutely massive, Mike. Yeah, the game Saturday is. That's it. I think that is it.
Yeah.
In my mind, if he loses that, there can't be any way. But I mean, the fans will turn.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Time. And even Sullivan, like I said, he can see his, all of a sudden his stocks are plummeting.
Yeah.
I've got to do something. He's going to have to do something.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. Because those games are running out, Jake. They will run out quickly. Those games will.
Let's just talk about some scenarios here. So if we win, he obviously stays, I think. If we draw,
that's not enough.
I agree. One point from those two games is not enough. We have to win anything but. And the one thing that worries me is, I don't want to see some ugly scenes in that stadium, but I think it's turning that way. If they don't sack him before Saturday and we have a bad start and we maybe go 1-0 down. I'm not saying people are going to start running on the pitch again, but those protests around that box are going to start again, and it won't be pretty. I can guarantee you of that, because the fans are voicing their opinions. When the away contingent goes against, the manager and the players, that's when it gets bad, and it got very much like that at full time at Wolves. Yeah. It was very clear. Moyes got to the edge of the sort of centre circle thing, clapped for about 10 seconds and realised this wasn't a good idea, and swiftly turned around and went back again. This is not good at West Ham, and that place is not a very nice place to be when fans aren't happy. And we know what we're like, Mike. We ain't going to just sit down and shut up. There will be protests.
I'm afraid they're going to know about it. They're going to know about it, full stop. And it's time, I mean, it hasn't happened yet. There, I haven't heard a Moyes shout there at all yet, and to be fair, it's not been warranted in my mind, but it's got to the stage now where it has.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm just updating that banner. Look, we're not here to be clickbaiting. We're trying to get out the information as best as we can, and as and when we're getting it, we've still got these people saying, various unreliable sources saying that Moyes is on his way out. We've got some more reliable sources in the Football London and the Guardian confirm that this news is wide of the mark. So we're just trying to get as much out of this as possible. In regards to the managers wanting to come in, it's whether they look as glass half full or half empty for sure. Poor news, says Peter. Expecting Harry Redknapp to return at this point with Lampard as backroom staff. What about that, Mike?
No, I don't think so, mate. That would be the last thing.
Jay says, what if Moyes beats Everton? It's hardly going to be up there on the same level as us. Right, let me just say this. If we beat them, of course, it's going to be good. We've got 3 points on the board. But then again, what's it really proving? That we're not the worst side in the league? We're the second worst side in the league?
Probably. Like I said, I'm looking around at the moment and I can only see two teams that that worsen us or on par with us even.
Exactly.
It's not bad.
Exactly.
And one of those teams we're playing on Saturday,
and
if we lose to them or we draw with them, then what does that tell you?
Yeah. Trini says, because we need a coach to work with the team and manage the players. Moyes apparently has zero man management skills. Apparently, Moyes is meant to say something at the tribute for David Gold before Saturday's game. If that's so, how do you think that will go down to the fans? I haven't seen that, and I didn't actually know there was a David Gold tribute. But if that's the fact, it's difficult because we need to be respectful of the family here. But I'm afraid fans will not like him coming on a microphone in front of everybody, because people will not like it. But in the circumstance, you'd like to think,
I would not be disrespectful for that.
Oh no, definitely not.
No.
Definitely not. And NWO says, Michael Carrick. What do you think of Michael Carrick? That's a man I would take.
Well, that's the one I was talking about the other day. I just think he's ex-West Ham player. Obviously come through the youth ranks. He left when we went down. I know he went to Tottenham, which wasn't great, but he went on to better things than that. And he was a great player. He did all right as a caretaker manager at Man United. Now he's doing really well with Middlesbrough. So that's the sort of guy I'd like to see.
Definitely,
I really would.
Sack everyone, says Luke. Carrick won't leave Borough. He could get them promoted. The players want him out. That's why they are performing crap. Rel says, what's occurring? Give me some good news. Please tell me Moyes is gone. So it's all running along the bottom of your screen there. We're believing now that this news is wide of the mark about Moyes being sacked, and we think he's getting a little bit more time from the board. Tommy says, someone until the end of the season. They go for Company, Carrick, or Corbian next season. I'm in agreement. Company, Carrick, any of those sort of players, managers, I would take in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I don't know if they'd want to come, but someone else to hopefully keep us up, and then look to that sort of manager in the future. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Steve says protests if he's still here, and I've got to be in 100% agreement. There will be on Saturday. Sharky says he'll get another game at least. I think Rice will go Chelsea, and obviously with this Arsenal news that hots things up a little bit. Moyes is down to make a speech about Gold on Saturday. He won't go before Saturday. Happy Hammer says, if we draw, that'll be 2 points out of a possible 27. It's embarrassing.
I know.
There's no other way of putting it. It's embarrassing, I'm afraid.
Yeah. It's just not good enough, full stop.
Yeah. It's your boy Dan says, one name that's been coming around quite a bit is Domenico Tedesco. He's a young Italian/German manager who took RB Leipzig to cup champions. He also did work at Spartak Moscow and Schalke. Thoughts? I did actually a little bit earlier on film a video ready to put out towards the back end of the week about Domenico Tedesco. Obviously with this news, I'm not sure whether it'll be relevant to release that, but I went through his whole career from where he started off at Schalke through to Spartak Moscow and RB Leipzig, and really in depth analysed his whole career managerial wise and went through his style of play. So if Moyes is still here, I may release that around Thursday. I go into big detail about that. So if you want to see that, put that in the chat. So yeah, that might be something that you could see. Sean says, overdue West Ham fans realize they just don't have the better years than most of these teams who have been punching above their weight in two COVID disturbed seasons, chucked in 3 random buys. It equals a mess. Do you think we're almost being pulled back down to where not where West Ham should be, but our reality, Mike?
A little bit, yeah. I think we maybe did, exceed expectations for a couple of seasons. But I mean, with the players that he's bought, that's coming through the summer, I thought that squad should have been strengthened. It was strengthened, full stop, with the players that we brought in, but he just haven't put them together as a team, and they have not operated as a unit.
Yeah,
and that's the disappointing bit for me.
For sure. Right then, so we are now also hearing news out that other sources are saying this isn't true, and this is 100% not true. That it is wide of the mark. I'm not quite sure, but people are going mental on Twitter. I don't know if it was X or anybody else. Don't trust the bookies, I think many people are saying. So yeah, no idea what's going on. It's been a crazy hour in the world of West
I mean, the bookies can't go wrong by dropping the price on it, can they?
No,
they can't go wrong.
exactly.
In a way, you know. I mean, you know,
it is. It's just a really riveting story, and trying to see what's going to happen is, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Let's go down on some of these comments. If Moyes does a tribute and they boo, they need to look at themselves. Trini says Everton fans may give him a big ovation to annoy our fans better and all that. And I tell you what, let's not say that Everton are in the best place. If we beat them, it'll be brilliant, but it's no achievement. They've got fans running after their players down roads to try and find answers.
Chasing players down the road after the game, weren't they? I mean, They're not a happy bunch anyway, full stop at the moment. But I mean, if they beat us, that's, for me, it is, that shows where we are, doesn't it? And for me, there's just no way, the guy comes back from that.
Yeah. Alex says no, he's not unfortunately going Steinberg denied it. The Guardian, Football London and other sources are slowly loitering out and saying this news is false. Confirmed David Moyes will get more time and will take charge of our match on Saturday. Multiple sources. The excitement is over. Focus back to our imminent relegation. That's from West Ham Centre on Twitter. So I will just update that banner. Mike, your thoughts on that just while I update that banner, sir?
Yeah, no, I am not shocked at all. Like I said, I thought all along that he's only going to get, he would get this game at least. I don't really see the sense in that. I don't, because unless we put in a much, much, much better performance than what we put in all season, nothing changes for me. Nothing changes.
Yeah. The banner is just coming up around the bottom of your screen. Hopefully I've not made any typos. I was typing that out very, very quickly. I've got to get rid of a banner. Everything's going wrong here. I've got to type it out again. Oh dear, I'll just get rid of that. Right, I'll just say it. Various reliable sources now confirming that Moyes is going to stay. Nuno will be our next manager. Nuno, Mike, thoughts on a manager like that?
Yeah, there is positives with him. There is, I think he was losing players at Wolves in the end, wasn't he? I mean, he lost Jota, some top quality players, sort of left that squad, and he did well with them. He did.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And maybe
I
that's
his attitude.
Sort of next one down.
Yeah, he sort of. I liked his attitude, the way he come out and talked and everything. Yeah, I didn't really have a problem with him. I thought he did a decent job.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take some more of your comments then. Where are we? Come on, you Irons, lads. Heads up, shoulders back. Paolo Di Canio seen near the ground. I confirm that's hopefully or not hopefully, a joke. I'm not reporting that, but that is funny. If we get Deitch after 46 years, I'm out. Sean Deitch, could you imagine that? We're saying that though, Mike, but I think many people would take him.
I think they would, to think that get us out of trouble, but because that's how far it's gone, isn't it? That's where we are now.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be there. But that's how bad it's got.
Yeah. See, there's such divide about managers, Another one, Nuno over Moyes. Many people think these managers are different, all the same, and are just going to provide and dish up the same crap we've currently got there. So it's just all completely down to opinion, Trini says Sean Whetstone was on another YouTube channel last week, and he said Moyes is safe until Saturday in his opinion. Well, I think, wait for Potter. Is that something?
Potter could be on horizon, can he? In Chelsea, but I don't know. Bowley might be a bit different. He's not. He's not going to be as lethal as his predecessor.
No.
I don't know. I think he'd be okay for us.
Yeah.
I think he fits a certain sort of club, like I said before about him, and Brighton fitted him. Expectations weren't high there. They'd probably be higher at West Ham, a lot higher at West Ham than they are at Brighton. So I don't know.
Yeah. So if you're new and just joining us, 258 people watching live. Hello, welcome. This is West Ham Unofficial. With the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're bringing the news as and when we get it. It's been a crazy hour. It's flown by. Hey, Mike, 50 minutes. I can't believe it. Time flies when you're having fun.
50 minutes.
Yeah. The news we have is
15 seconds ago.
Exactly. Reliable sources have confirmed that that news of Moyes being sacked are wide of the mark and are simply false. That's what we're hearing from people like Football London, X, and Jacob Steinberg of the Guardian as well. Moyes has just gone. I think you're baiting me. I'm going to refresh my Twitter page. I don't think he has. He hasn't. Don't try and do me, Peter. Don't try and do me. See, now we're going off of this, and now people are starting to mention Rice. You know, West Ham want a fee of £100 million in order to sell Rice. That's coming from Sammy Mokbel from the Daily Mail. It's all going off, whether it's Rice, whether it's Moyes, next manager Benitez. It's all going off. People are saying, be careful what you wish for in terms of a manager, Mike. Would you agree?
Yeah, some of them could be right, to be honest. You know, I don't think it's change for the sake of change. I think it's just come to a situation now where, you know, unless we get a resounding result on Saturday, for me, you know, the change has got to happen, full stop.
Yeah.
Absolutely got to happen. It's not just change for the sake of the change and get someone. It is now. You know, it absolutely is. Because I just can't see us getting out of trouble. And, you know, as a club, we just cannot afford to go down. Don't get me wrong, I'll still be up there supporting them, you know, like I have done for years. But as a club, you know, we're going to drop back. We're going to drop back another sort of 6 or 7 years because of that. You know, there's no guarantee we come straight back up. We often, in the past, we have done. Or maybe only spent, you know, a couple of years down, but it'd take you backwards. And in stadium, can you imagine what the atmosphere would be like in that stadium? Yeah, it wouldn't be great.
Exactly. And if
there'd be no VAR, Jake, which I'd be well happy about.
Yeah, I think we all would be.
That'd be the only positive, I think.
But I think if we did go down, the thing with it is, and you know, Mandy is there. There's no parachute payments after the season. So clubs like Norwich and Bournemouth who go up and down like yo-yos aren't going to get the money that they, you know, want out of it because they're not going to just get that. So, and if we do go down, it's a blimmin' difficult job to get back up. There's so many clubs in and around and trying to get back up again. Like
it is tough. It is tough, and you've got to keep a lot of your players, which we have done in the past, to come back up again. And I can't. That wouldn't happen because they'd be on too much money. And let's face it, you know, a lot of them just wouldn't want to play in the Championship. Full stop.
No,
I'm not saying a lot of them aren't Championship level at the moment, but
we'd lose half the players, and that stadium would go even worse than it currently is. And hey ho, right? Let's bring our next guest on, Mike. If you do have to go, just let me know.
I'm
Gary,
all right for a few minutes, mate. You all right, Gary?
How you doing, mate? Yeah, good. Hi, Jake.
Gary, long time no see. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm all right. I got over Saturday in the end. It's a long day though, mate, wasn't it?
It was a long old day. So, you know, we've gone through a mix of emotions over the last 55 minutes, mate. We've heard some reports of Moyes being sacked. Those have now been shut down by more reliable sources. Moyes is still going to be here for the Everton game, according to more reliable reports. And that place is not going to be pretty on Saturday.
No, I think, but as fans, we've got to go and try and be positive to get the stadium at least positive at the start with. I mean, if they're rubbish for 90 minutes, that's a different matter. But I'm certainly going to support the lads from the start. You go, Mike?
I'm not. My daughter's going because her friend's boyfriend is a physio at Everton, and they're staying with
her friend's boyfriend. Okay, I think I got that relationship.
So she's going to go with her friend, right?
Yeah.
Because her boyfriend is Everton physio, and they're stopping with them overnight.
Oh, okay.
But they're West Ham fans. Let's have a look. Firstly, how was your Costa coffee? Many people are asking. That's the question of the day, Gary.
Well, Jake managed to find the one place in the whole of their services that had no big cups. So
honestly,
I was going
it's
to try
like
and fleece him for the biggest cup I could
get rid of all the large cups. Gary said, all I want is a gigantic, the biggest hot chocolate you can get. Oh, mate, have 2 large hot chocolates, please. Oh, we don't do large cups. We ran out.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
I'm the only Costa in the world and don't do big cups.
Anyway, thoughts on it all then, Gary?
I'm trying to be positive because I'm a naturally positive person, and I'm looking at 3 teams that are worse than us. I generally think Bournemouth are worse than us. I think Everton are worse than us, and I think one of either Saints or Forest over the long term are worse than us. Because I look at the pitch, and it's not like previous relegation teams. We've got some good players, we really have. And you look at them and all this transfer rumours. I think, is that going to help us? No, it's not. The only thing that help us is a change of managers. You know, if we had a different system, a bit of confidence, we'd be fine. A lot of these players, I think, it's down to man management, the way they've been treated. I think that's my gut feel, honestly.
Yeah,
I still think we can get out of it with a change of manager. I think we can get out of it. I'll take Dyche, 6 months or whatever it takes to get out. I'll take him.
Yeah. A lot of people have got that opinion, and I did say that. I said if we take someone to just get us out of this trouble, turn this mess around, then maybe we look to someone else for a long-term future. But hey, at the moment we're in a relegation.
Yeah, I mean,
in a relegation fight, and we need to get sorted pretty soon because these games have started getting scratched off. And before we know it, we've only got flipping 8 or 10 games left. We're going to need about 7 wins.
On the positive side, we're halfway through the season. We've still got half a season to go.
Yeah.
If you look at the players we've got, in my opinion, the best midfielder in the country in Declan Rice. Mm-hmm. We've got Paqueta, who started for Brazil in the World Cup. I think Scamacca's a great player up front. I like the look of Aguirre at the back. So we've got the spine of the team is quite good. Yeah. Bowen has got to come good eventually. I would personally leave him out for a couple of games, freshen him up. That's what I would do. I felt a bit sorry for Pablo at the weekend. Thought he played well, ran around a lot, and a bit of enthusiasm. When he moved into the middle, he looked quite dangerous, and then got taken off for some reason. Again, down to management. Ben Ramos, I would cut with the goal if he gets played and everything. So I think we've got the players. It's not as if we haven't got the players. It's just the tactics and the confidence. And Everton's huge. It's really huge. Really, really big. If we can win that game, it's still really tight. I think there's 4 teams above us with 4 points.
Oh, yeah. 2 wins and you're out of it.
So
it takes some pressure off you. Let's put it like that.
We're not cut adrift, are we, Mike? We're not cut adrift. So we've got a chance.
That's the one. If I may cut in, the sort of positive we've got there is we're not adrift. We're not 5 points. Behind anybody else. But you look and you say, Mike, you raised the valid point there, 2 wins and you're out of it. I don't see where we're getting 1 goal and 1 to 2 wins. That's the harsh reality of it. After this game, we then go into a run of games where we've got that Derby game, which could be difficult in there in the FA Cup. We've got Newcastle, Chelsea, Spurs in there. No, we ain't going to get anything off of them the way we're playing at the moment. It's worrying, and the games are going to run out.
I agree with you, Jake, but if you get totally positive, apart from the goal, what did Fabianski have to do on Saturday?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nothing, literally. I can't remember a save he had to make. So, we're looking defensively sound. I think Aguirre and Zuma at the back is quite a good partnership. I think that'd be a really good partnership.
Yeah.
I feel like we need a left back. If we talk about transfers, we desperately need a left back to strengthen up some pace down that side. Other than that, I think we got the players, but we'll see. We need to change the manager. 1.7 games, it's not good enough.
Yeah. Just before I take some more of your comments, for the eagle-eyed and regular viewers of the channel, you will know that currently now we'll be doing our Premier League roundup show, of course, with the breaking out of this news. That has been put back until 7:30, so we're going to go for another about 15-20 minutes talking about this, and then Sean will be joining me. We'll be going straight back over to talk about the Premier League's weekend of games and be doing the normal roundup show from that. So just in case you were wondering about that will be coming at 7:30. So we're going to do this for a little bit longer. Let's take some of these comments saying, Kerry, Wolves fan, what's going on with our clubs? One thing I will say is I didn't think Wolves were fabulous, and we were there, both of us, Garrett. I didn't think they were fabulous at all, but they had a bit of fight, a bit of desire, a new manager, some positive ideas, which we don't have at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. You can hear the fan base were behind the new manager.
Yeah.
I thought the substitute that came on, I forget his name now, the number 5 that came on, I liked him. He looked a good player.
Yeah.
It was a nice finish by the lad who scored. So, you know, end of the day, you can't keep them out.
No.
But I think Wolves will be fine. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. Anthony says, so depressing. Feels like 5 minutes ago we were singing We've Got Super David Moyes. How quick things change. It certainly does. It certainly does feel like just a second since we were, you know, at the end of last season singing We've Got Super David Moyes. And now that is well and truly over. But Ironclad 57 says, lack of goals has been the problem. How do we buy proven goal scorers who fire blanks for us, who go back to scoring when they leave? Too much them fitting us rather than us playing.
Yeah, it's a very valid point. Very valid point.
That is a very valid point, because you know very well what would happen if we sold Scamacca. If he went somewhere else, we all know he'd do a howler and he'd bang goals in always, because we've seen it. The guy can score goals. You just got to give him the right sort of quality flipping service, which hasn't happened at all. You know, we're just too defensive minded, and we don't get forward quick enough. We don't get the ball in, you know, we don't. I mean, in that conference, he scored a great header, didn't he? With one decent cross. I mean, flipping hell. How many decent crosses have we put in the box this year?
We can't cross.
We can't cross. 2,000 off the ability to cross. Yeah.
Diabolical. It has.
I agree, Mike. I agree.
Yeah.
Because when he came on, Mike, on the weekend, he was good, Scamacca, for the 10 minutes, 15 minutes he played. Very good. Good touch. Good player.
Yeah.
Good player, you know, and no Sherlock. When you play Ben Rama and Scamacca there, creative players, they're going to create things. Ben Rama's going to create things, and Scamacca, he's a striker. He's going to get on the end of a chance every now and then. Who would have thought it? Trini says, if we went down, our youth players would then all of a sudden be elevated to first team regulars. Ben, thank you very much for joining us. Leicester fan here. Lots of similarities with our clubs right now, from both clubs competing for Europe spots to relegation battle. Grim times. Would you have Roger if we got rid? I tell you what, it seems to be, you know, that with Leicester, they want rid of Rodgers, we want rid of Moyes. It's just not going very well for these clubs, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they're exactly the same as us, aren't they?
Yeah.
Up there, European place, and then the next thing you know, you're sliding down and getting involved in relegation battles, which, it happens to clubs, you know. But I mean, Leicester have lost a couple of decent players.
Yeah.
You know, we've brought better players in, you know, so there's no excuse for us in that way, I don't think.
Exactly.
You know,
I think Rodgers will be a good coach, as you say, Mike. They've lost a lot of good players. They're reliant on Vardy, who seems to have lost his pace now.
Vardy was never going on forever, was he? You know,
no. Madison's injured, so I think that
Madison has been out. I mean, they've had a lot of things go against them.
Yeah,
we have as well. To be fair, we haven't had our two best centre halves playing together. How many games have those two played together?
None
at all. I mean, that's unbelievable, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Unbelievable that is bad luck.
Yeah.
If there's any defence I've got for Moyes, it's that, you know, that he plays defensively, and he hasn't had his two best centre backs together for one game.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
for sure. Sean says Bournemouth 2 out of Everton, West Ham, and Saints to go down. Anthony says I don't see anyone being worse than us going forward. Slow and predictable. Sharky says our good players are normally sat on the bench. It's too true. Are we the slowest club in the Premier League? Well, statistically, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Would not surprise me one little bit. Right then, we've got somebody coming live and direct. I'm going to bring him in just a second. Just before we do, let's take... Sean says Lloris may help with the goal. We'll talk about that on the Roundup show very, very soon, Sean. Gary says... I would bring in Chris Houghton or Sean Dyche in this season. Chris Houghton, he was Brighton?
Chris Hughes.
Chris Hughes.
Yeah.
He's ex-Spurs player, and then he came and played for West Ham for a little while.
He was assisting like Garner in the World Cup or something, I think.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Something like that. I wouldn't take Hughes, but I'd take Dyche.
Let's bring on the man all the way up in Scotland there, Mr. Anton Baker. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Thank you very much. How are you all?
Anton?
You're right, Anton?
Not bad. We've had a bit of a roller coaster of emotions. a bit of a roller coaster of emotions, mate. He's been going, he's been staying, he's got Everton, Rafa's coming in, it's all happening.
Well, I was too busy trying to sort out my heating in the house because it stopped randomly, and then my phone was going off in one, and I was like, I really want to look at it, but I really need to sort of the heating out because it's really frosty weather up here just now. Yeah. But I did see the source and Betfair, and I was a bit like, oh man, it's Betfair. I mean, there's obviously, I mean, listen, the way I look at it is that you can suspend, like that's not, I mean, let's look at the Ralph Hunsel from Southampton. Yeah, his bets were suspended in September and he was sacked in November. So things like that happen on a fairly regular occasion. I mean, the chat that I'm in, people are saying Ivan Toney's been betting left, right, and centre, like they're just and that's what's driven the kind of source. But we spoke to Jonty, and Jonty said it's very wide of the mark. Like he's there for Everton. Like no point in thinking like that. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, things can change and could change. Benitez doesn't fill me with much joy. It feels very similar to Pellegrini-ish. Yeah. For me, and that's my concern. That's what I said yesterday. Not that obviously things need to change. Obviously they do. Yeah. It's just in what manner.
It's just what manner.
Not change for change's sake, really. That's what I said. You know, I just don't think we should change for change's sake, but we just need that new voice, you know.
And, we do.
Yeah, you know. So it's such a difficult position we're in at the moment.
It is. I think 3-4 years ago, I'd have been probably screaming from the rooftops, like out. Personally, I would have, and I appreciate everyone's opinion because obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion. For me, I'm just worried. I'm genuinely, like, I'm worried now, but I'm worried about changing now because, like, I've looked at people say it doesn't matter, but you've got to look at the history of what Moyes does, and the history is loads of reasons, and I know it's there, and people hate it, but it's the truth. The history is he has 2 good seasons and 1 average season, and then 2 good seasons and 1 average season. That's literally what his history is, apart from Man United, where you could easily say he wasn't given a chance. Sunderland wasn't great. Sociedad wasn't great, but his history, 10 years ago, but he's now given us 2 good seasons, and right now it's crap. But people take that as you want. People in the chat will turn around and go, "Here comes the Moyes in guy." I'm not Moyes in. I'm not Moyes out, because right now I don't know who's there to come in to make me a happy West Ham fan. Yeah. So that's my only concern. That's where I'm at.
Agree.
I don't want to shout it because I don't know who I want in. Bielsa would be a ride. It would be an absolute massive gamble for West Ham to take someone like Bielsa. But I tell you what, though, Bielsa does come with a lot of plaudits. He does, like his past, his history, and what he's done in the football game. Like he does. Taking him on board would be like we think we're in a roller coaster now. Oh, shit, man. We'll go on a roller coaster of emotions.
We certainly will be.
You think there's? I reckon, like, you could have Bielsa, and easily within 3 or 4 weeks, you could have massive protests. But equally, though, we could be sitting qualifying for the Champions League. He's that sort of manager. He's all over the place as a manager.
Sure.
I know people are calling for Dyche. I know you, Gary. You said you'd take him on a short-term contract. I think my only concern with Dyche is the fact how long has it been now since he's been in football?
About a year, I suppose.
Yeah, but then equally, Moyes wasn't in football for a year before we took him back, or whatever it was. So, yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one.
It is.
Certainly is. I mean, names like Bielsa, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Does Benitez fill you with joy? Really?
No, not at all.
No, not at all. No, definitely not.
There's a couple of comments I just want to take here, and Liam says this. He says I actually agree with Ant on it. Look at his Everton record. It's very wavy. Good season, great season, bad season. That seems to continue. Mark from the West Ham way. 2 main likely targets short term. So that's where we seem to be in that sense. Short term. So that may be obviously sort of a get out of free jail card if it does all go wrong at London Stadium.
I think the thing with it is that, again, it goes back to the same old story that I keep repeating. You know, and we're in these circumstances. Who would we look at to get us out of these circumstances? Don't get me wrong here. I never have been a fan of the board. Never have been. Trust me when I say that. There's lots of videos 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago that state I was never a fan of the board when they came in. So I'm very open to that whole comment. Nobody is telling me right now if the players have lost the faith in the manager that the board would know. So that for me, I don't like if the players have lost the faith in the manager, the board know and they are working behind the scenes to do it. If they haven't lost the faith and they believe in the project, then there's an element of they'll keep turning up and keep doing their job. They did look deflated after the Wolves game. There's no ifs or buts about it. They did.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Don't you think, Anton, don't you think that's Mark Noble's job now to be the link between the board and the players?
Could be, yeah. That's obviously what he's been brought in to do. I mean, he's literally been in the job 19 days. And I think unofficially he's been in it longer, but he's been in it 19 days. No team in the world who's having problems, in my opinion, wouldn't look at other options as a backup plan because you need to then have what you're going to fall back on. However, I totally believe the board are 100% behind David Moyes and want him to turn it around, desperately want him to turn it around. So that's why they'll keep giving him, unless anything better comes up, they'll keep going Moyes' man.
Honestly, Anton, if we lose Saturday, I think he's gone.
Yeah, I think if we lose, I do agree with you. I think if we lose Saturday, I totally agree. I think it's going to become like you're losing against a team that's in turmoil.
Exactly. And Anton, me and Mike talked about earlier on that if we do win, does it prove now that we're the 19th worst team in the league because we beat the side that have got fans running down the road, chasing after players, chasing for answers? I mean,
I don't know. No, I don't know. I've still got this element of, I know I'm a half glass full West Ham fan, but you know, you hear this comment about fine margins. There have been games, quite a few games this season that have been we've been either drew or lost on fine margins, and that is if we were not creating opportunities, I would be even more concerned. The thing is, we're not converting the chances.
But I don't think we created. I was at the game Saturday. I can't think of one chance we had really.
You know, you're right. The Wolves game, absolutely. But before that, I mean, we were creating opportunities. We were never having anyone. There's this fear now. You've got this stat talking about balls into the box and no one's there. We've got this staticness again with the team. They're static again. Like we're standing still. We're not progressing. And you know, when you think of the two players that we're linked to, whether they're pie in the sky links, you know, I did a piece last night that released this morning, and it was talking about 5 little words: John Hartson and Paul Kitson. They were brought in back in 1997 to come and do a job, and they came in, they'd done their job, and they kept West Ham up, and they scored 12 and 13 games between them. And players like Danjuma, if it, you know, I'm not saying it is, and players like Moffey, do you know what could be the boost that West Ham need? Whether or not we bring them in, I don't know.
But I think the trouble is, Anton, I think when you talk about Kitson and Hartson, as under Harry, and he played them to their strengths. I honestly think if we brought Messi in on loan, Moyes wouldn't play into his strengths.
Do you know what? I agree with you on that as well. I do agree with you on that. But the thing is, like, I don't doubt for a second Moyes is sitting there going, something needs to change. So, like, I know it's been really slow, but bringing Souček out off the field and putting Benrahma on, like, to me and you, is like, why did Souček start? But to Moyes, that's some form of progression in terms of changing mindset.
A little bit of a change. Yeah,
it's a little bit of a change. And come Everton, I've said it to my dad. My dad said to me, I kind of agree with him. The next 19 games with any manager are not going to be pretty. Doesn't matter what manager's going to come in. No. They ain't going to be pretty. But what you've got with Moyes is a manager that's going to go. He is probably going to line up defensively, but he is trying to change a few things. And he said to me, "What did I think about the Everton game? Will he go hell for leather?" I kind of feel like he's got no choice.
Yeah, exactly.
But imagine he does, and we get beat.
Yeah.
But I think Anton, if the crowd are there and we have a good go and we hit the bar 14 times, whatever, we lose 1-0. That's different. At the moment, we're not even creating anything. We just look so negative.
Sean says it there. Not creating what they call big chances, Mike. Haven't for months, and we haven't. You know.
I kind of disagree with that, Sean. If I'm being brutally honest, because I think we have created big chances. We haven't converted. There's a big difference. Like, we have hit the bar. We are talking about we have hit the crossbar. We have hit the post. Like, we've had decisions not go our way. We've had a couple of decisions recently that have gone away. This does not try my best not to come.
I don't think
we have. If you look at the stats, Anton, I don't bore with the stats, but the big chances missed in the last 6 games were on nil.
And maybe necessarily in the last few games. I agree with that, because I think the last 3 games we've had Arsenal hasn't been great. We had a better game against Leeds. You know, it was a better game against Leeds. And the Wolves game, I mean, Wolves fans are buzzing. They got the victory. Wolves didn't perform that well. West Ham didn't perform that well. So it was a crap game. It was just a nervy game that a team won. And that's what these teams are going to do. So for me, it's just like I'm so scared. We've been bitten so many times before in the past, and I'm worried about the gung ho approach. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong.
But
who knows what's right?
How can it get worse, Anton? How can it get worse? We've got 1.7 games. We haven't played anyone in that team apart from Arsenal.
But my concern then would be how many people rely heavily on getting that bounce back, like that new manager in, and think, oh well, that's going to give us a boost. Well, it doesn't always work that way.
Of course, it's a gamble.
And it's a gamble. It is a gamble, and I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, do we believe? Do the fan base believe there's a project there?
But the project, Mike, is diminishing before our very eyes.
Yeah, it is. You know, I thought when we come back after the break, Arsenal game was tough. We were never going to win that game. No, it was 1-0 up at half time, and we all knew what was going to happen in the second half.
Yeah.
The Brentford game, the first 10, 15 minutes of that game, it was a boxing match. Brentford, they'd have been out of the ring because we were all over them.
Yeah, we
Rice hits the post. If that hits the inside of the post and goes in, we might not be talking about this now.
And Dawson
it's fine margins in this game. But from then onwards, right, Brentford go straight down the other end and score from a flipping long throw and then a breakaway. From then onwards, you can see belief has totally disappeared out of those players, and that's what's happened in the last few games.
And the sort of thing that I've been saying after every game, I said it because I was angry when we came out after the Leicester game for the World Cup break. I said he's got to go now because I saw absolutely nothing there. We come back and we saw a little bit against Arsenal, and Brentford was even worse. So I said you've got to go. Do you think that more, the board could be as much to blame as Moyes for not acting and not sacking him? Because in my opinion, Moyes is not going to make it any better. In my opinion, I think he's completely surplus to the requirements, and I think that any new voice is a better voice than what we've currently got. So do you think the board are as much to blame as Moyes here?
Jake, sorry, just quickly, Jake, do you really believe that though? Any voice is better than this voice, genuinely, because any voice means any manager. And any manager I wouldn't want any manager.
I don't think any manager. I don't think any manager. I think it needs a new voice, but it's got to be the right new voice.
Yeah.
But Anton, what I'd say to that is, do you think that in any way Moyes is going to turn this around?
Well, going back to why we brought him in the last time, which was to save us. We're in a crap situation, and the manager you're going to look at is a David Moyes. You ain't going to look at a Rafa Benitez to save a club from relegation. I think he's done it. Did he have to go to Newcastle? I can't even remember. Did he bring them up from the chat? I can't remember.
He took them down and brought them back up again.
Yeah. So for me, you're looking at managers that are going to try and keep you up. Sean Dyche's doesn't fill me with much joy. Takes me back to thinking like, shit, we're going to hit the reset button and start again. And every move's a gamble. So right now I'm like, there's no one clearly for me, and I get it, but there's no one clearly out there. Clearly, there's no clear front runner. Years ago we were talking about the Eddie Howe's of the world because he was young, up and coming, Bournemouth. From London or whatever it was, and that was a little bit different. But right now, there's just no clear cut.
Well, I think Dyche don't get the credit he deserves, but personally, I think he's got a reputation like Sam Allardyce. I admit it, but he's a better manager than people give him credit for, I think.
I know. I do you know what? I totally respect him as a guy and a manager, and I've always, I think Sam Allardyce came in for some crazy criticism, but he came in for crazy criticism because we played a style of football that Sean Dyche plays, and that is going to turn toxic. That will turn us toxic. That's my concern. That's my concern.
Right, guys, I've got to go. Sorry, guys.
Cheers, Mike. Thank you very much, mate.
Guys.
But 6 months, Anton, I think he's worth a shout. I honestly do. I just can't see Moyes turning it around. I watched the game on Saturday.
Now, though, is we've got the certain levels of managers we're looking at. We've got the thing that we're dreaming of, a sort of Tedesco, a young European manager that could bring new ideas, fresh ideas to the club. You've then got the sort of, you could say, like a Nuno Espirito Santo. You may put a sort of Rafa Benitez into that. And then you've got the sort of short term, which you probably do put Rafa Benitez into that, actually. The sort of short term, Sean Dyche. I'm not saying Big Sam, but a Big Sam sort of manager to come in and keep you up, and which is what we thought Moyes was going to come in and do. And then it all went lockdown, and he kept us up, and this is where we're at now. What sort of manager do you think that the board will be looking at? The short term, the slightly better? I think we can completely rule out the European young manager sort of part of it. But what do you think they're looking at? Short term? Anton, I'll start with you.
I think it pisses people. I think it probably pisses a lot of fans. The board are blatantly piss off nearly every single West Ham fan because of they say they've got an ambition and okay, right, we had a good couple of years under the current situation, but we should have maybe been there a lot earlier. We should have been there. If you look back at 2016 when we moved, that was the summer where we should have invested, and we didn't invest, and we got Zaza and we got Nordveit and we got Cantor and we got Faguli and that was a disaster for us. So for me, that blame doesn't go on Bilic, it goes on the board, because they had the opportunity to bring players in to add to the value what we had, Dimitri Payet's of the world. And could you have imagined, that's when we should have went up. That's where we should have continued the journey. That our trajectory was showing positive signs. The summer brought our trajectory down and it didn't work. Bosh, there you go. And this is the kind of similar situation. I feel like the summer we've had with our money we spent was a window too late. Because if we had maybe spent some of that, if we'd have brought in half of the players or even a quarter of the players to help out, that could have pushed us to the Champions League. I'm not saying it would have, but it could have. And if we'd have got Champions League, we would have progressed again. So the situation we've got with our ownership is that they would love Tuchel's and Pochettinos, but they know they ain't going to get them. Now, would Sullivan ask? Probably, but he'll get declined. And that's the situation we're in, and it leaves us with the crop we're always talking about, unless they go and look at the West Brom manager or the Postacoglu's, whom I don't think is a realistic option, because he looks at like he wants long term. He needs long term investment. You get a Postacoglu from Celtic coming to West Ham, you're literally looking at 7-year project, not a 1-year project. You know what I mean? So it's going to be someone who's been there, done that, wore the t-shirt.
Do you think it's different as well, Gary? Because we're saying that we can't trust this project under Moyes. Do you think that's because it's more of an aging manager who has he's got his views and he's stubborn and he's not going to change it? Do you think the fans will be a little bit more understanding if we bring in a manager and it doesn't work to start with like a Postecoglou, but there's a clear, a younger manager and a clear project? Do you think fans will be more understanding to that fact?
I think they would in certain ways, Jake. I mean, the trouble you get now, you know what the lineup's going to be, and you know how they're going to play it, which means if you and I know, or three of us know, I'm pretty sure the opposition manager knows, which means they're going to set up and they know how to play against us. And the thing that puzzles me, we brought in Mark Warburton, who's supposed to be an experienced guy and done a lot of good things with Rangers and Brentford and that. Where's he in this? Where's he helping out? He's an experienced manager. He should be helping out. You've got Kevin Nolan there, who's done the business as well. So there are people in the background, but I just think Moyes has lost his way, and I think he's desperately trying to come up with a formula, but he keeps using the same players. It's like just shuffling the pack with the same cards, and you're not going to do anything with it. But I think
you're right. Yeah. And do you know what? It's actually funny because, Gary, see when you're saying that, and then obviously the timing of the interview today with the Diary of the CEO, and listening to what David Moyes said today, and listening to what he said right back when he first came back to the club, I don't doubt for a second he's lost a bit of sight of what he set out to achieve. Yeah. He said Red Bull model, young players, blah blah blah. And right now, what we've got is we're going through the transitioning period of bringing 8 new players in. See, come the summer, we've got 8 players heading out the door. If we stay up, we've got 8 players out of contract that are heading out the door, and we've got another transition kicking in. No matter what manager comes in, we are in for a roller coaster of a ride, because there's huge changes coming to the club. We don't know what's happening with the David Gold situation, the shares, the directorship. There's big changes coming our way with Moyes or without Moyes.
The thing is, if you look at Arteta, Anton, compared to Arsenal, you could see what he was trying to do, moving out the old players, bought young players. Every single player he bought was young, whether it's Ben White or it was Ramsdale in goal, Martinelli. All these young players that he brought in, you could see his style of football, and he was getting slated last season when they were losing to Brentford, etc. But he had his vision and he stuck to it, and it's paid dividends because he just kept buying the young players and bringing them in. Moyes has just jumped around, as you said. He's lost sight of what he's trying to do, I think.
Yeah, I think when I look back to it's funny because I see quite a lot of comments about people talking about Arteta. Probably the same people who ripped into Arteta last year.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Arsenal fans. I mean, that was toxic. They were like, "Get him out of our club! Get him out of our club!" And sometimes, I am a bit of a believer of sticking by your man within reason. And I think the only thing that makes me stick by that, because like I said, I don't see anyone else out there that interests me. But the fine margin comment, Stuart Pearce said it. Lots of people have said it. Like if things, do you know what? I'll be brutally honest. See if it comes to Everton, and I don't see Zuma starting beside Agerd, and I see Souček starting over Ben Rama, and things like that. That will piss me off again.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It'll piss everyone else off again, but it will piss me off again. And if we start the game and at the end of the game we've got beat, it's indefensible. It's very hard to do that. Both teams are under shitloads of pressure. I just don't know what the answer is.
I mean, Anton, you're right about fine margins because, Jake and I are at Forest. How we lost that game. We played that game 100 times and win it 99 times next time, but we lost because we missed a penalty at the bar twice. And then you've got Chelsea, I was there. Perfectly good goal ruled out. Liverpool missed the penalty. Manchester United were just all over the last half an hour again, how we didn't score there.
Liverpool.
Liverpool, We've lost 1-0 a few times and we shouldn't have done. We should have a few more points on the board. Crystal Palace, last minute, again, breakaway. They scored at home at London Stadium. That should have been a 1-1 draw. It is fine margins, but after a certain time, if it's 5 or 6 times it's happened, you think, well, actually, when are you going to learn?
I think, I don't have the stats in front of me just now, but I read somewhere that if you look at the amount of goals we've conceded, we are like not. We're by far not the worst.
We've let in less than Tottenham.
Yeah, but our issue is scoring. Our simple issue is scoring.
Only Wolves have scored less than us. Only Wolves have scored less.
Yeah, so it's work. It's actually in theory working one end of the field, but I hear so many people talking about Creswell, and I'm thinking to myself, and I get it. I know we need a little left back, but for me, the focus is getting Scamacca to score goals and giving him support, and the guy behind him, Antonio, who's not doing it just now, to get other people in. Like I wasn't joking about the John Hartson and Paul Kitson situation. If you're seeing 2 players out there that can come in and make an impact and help the Scamacas of the world, imagine putting Dan Juma out one side, who's got English history, and firing all cylinders. The deal for him is a West Ham deal, alone with either an option to buy or obligation to buy. It's a West Ham deal. It's right. It's there for us to write. I think we could go. I think we could get him. That's the thing. That's the frustrating thing. I think we could convince him to come and add him to that team. There's your winger that we've been missing. The guy that works the flanks. The guy that comes forward. The guy that cuts through. The Corney. That we've been. Corney's been a massive miss for West Ham.
Yeah, but
massive.
That being said, Anton, Moyes didn't start Corney more than once. Sat on the bench all the time.
Well, that was down to that frustrates me. The whole kind of when he consistently says they need to bed in. He done a press conference last week and he said about Agerd. He said, and he's right what he said. Agerd should be 19 games ahead than what he is. It will take him. The part I don't agree with is it will take him time. Agerd does not need time. Agerd's a quality defender.
Agerd is a great player. Me and you, Gary, saw it up there, and we turned to each other halfway through the first half, and we said Agerd's composed. He's
absolutely top notch.
He is. And if there's absolutely no other player to come out of that window that's any good, then we've definitely got a good of it. Listen, just a few things I do need to say. We've had over 200 of you in here for over an hour. Hit that like button if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. We've got some very good interviews coming up this week. We've got John T. Coleman from Football London joining us tomorrow night. Of course, now we'll be talking about David Moyes' transfers and everything else in between. We've got an ex-Hammer joining us on Wednesday night. We might have something about Tedesco coming on Thursday, building up to the Everton game on Friday. So the place to be is right here on West Ham Unofficial, and of course the West Ham Network. How rude of me.
Don't be worrying about that, mate. Don't you be worrying about
that. Luke from the Freehamers, Michael Keane to score 8 goals between now and the end of the season. Is that what you were smirking at, Anton?
Home goals.
I don't know. Yeah, own goals. Yeah,
own goals.
Yeah, Roger Johnson.
Yeah.
Jakey boy, Gary, I need to head, mate, because the kids are about to go to bed. I can hear the missus going, he's on that bloody phone again, so I'm going to head.
Cheers,
Go on, Anton.
Take it easy.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Yeah, no, love you, mate. Bye-bye. Right then, and then there were 2. Gary then, wow, it's been a whirlwind of an hour and a half, and we're sat here with David Moyes still in a job.
Yeah, and he'll certainly be in the job for Saturday. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I wish him the best. I've got nothing against the guy. I'd never, ever wish any ill on any West Ham player or manager, but he needs to think creatively on Saturday. He's got to go for it. He's got to drop Souček, put in either Flynn Downs or Ben Rama, and he's got to play Skamata up front and play to his strengths. Simple as that. That's our hope. Because Skamata will score goals. Give him some chances, he'll score goals. He's a good player.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take some more of your comments and keep them coming in. The comments are just going bum in the chat, so I can see you're all having a nice chat with each other, so keep that going. Trini says we have to be realistic as football fans. No matter who we have managing us, we will not get to the top 6 or 7. You need a multi-billionaire owner to break into that. And many people, of course, with the sad news of David Goldpasting saying that Kretinsky could buy those shares. I'm not quite sure the rules and regulations and how that works, but many people saying in the chat and mentioning it that we could see Kretinsky owning 100% of the club in the near future, Gary, which could lead us down a different path.
Yeah, it could. And Trini Hammer's right. It's going to be very difficult to break into that. But we've got Declan Rice to sell in the summer. We should get good money for him, and he cost us nothing. So if we reinvest that in the right way in 2 or 3 good players, again, I don't know what Rob Newman's doing, because this Craig Dawson thing irritates the hell out of me, because it's obvious Dawson wanted to leave in the summer for family reasons, and that's the most important thing, family. So don't hold it against Dawes. But he's had 4 months to find a replacement. Why has that not been sorted out? I don't understand it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's just completely and utterly bemusing, all of it. I really don't know. Let's take some more of these comments. Ruben says Brighton don't need Potter top to bottom. The club is ran flawlessly. New manager won't fix us long term. The entire club is rotten. I tell you what, I agree with that in terms of Brighton. Just what a club overall they are. They got rid of Potter. Everybody thought, that'll be it for them. They'll be going down. They brought in a geezer no one's ever heard of, and they're playing some of the best football Brighton have played in existence.
They absolutely trounced Liverpool, which takes some doing. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're a great, very well run club. As are Brentford, a very well run club as well. 2 well run clubs, smaller than us in terms of support and history, but they're very well run. Better
managers. Thomas Frank looks like now Roberto De Zerbi. Better managers with more sort of, with more better and more modern ideas to come out of it. Let's have a look. Victor says, I heard this January transfer window will amount to 200 million. I'll tell you what, in terms of money, we all knew we were barely going to spend anything in this window. I think that's blatantly obvious. But we still need to sign a couple of players, Gary, and we're now over halfway through the window.
Well, I'm not an expert on that FFP, Jake, but we must be getting pretty close to it now. The amount of money we spent in the summer. So I can't see much more than maybe, 20, 30 million tops. Oh, I'll be very surprised if someone like Antonio doesn't go and Dawson doesn't go, just to try and balance the books a little bit. Even Lanzini, just to get some cash in and balance the books a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Can't deny there. Steve says, bit worried about our next 4 league games. Everton home, Newcastle away, Chelsea home, Spuds away. If we don't beat Everton, I think we're done. And that's the worrying thing about it. Those 3 games are horrid. Away at Newcastle, horrid. Chelsea at home. I mean, you could have a chance out the way they're playing at the moment, Chelsea, but still, it's a very outside chance. Spurs away, I mean, they're not in the great form, but they're still going to beat us. It's not looking good.
I mean, on a good day, we get some points there, but the way we're playing, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it certainly is. Lawrence says, as far as Benitez is concerned, stick him where the sun don't shine. There's been a lot of sort of varied views about Benitez, which has surprised me. You know, it's split the fan base down the middle, I think, for me. A lot of people on Twitter saying no. There's a few people in here saying yes, some saying no. There's a lot
It's
of people
exactly the same as Pellegrini, exactly the same. You know, Pellegrini was good at City, Benitez was good at Liverpool, and now Benitez is somewhere in China, managing some club we've never heard of, and living on his past name. So I think it'd be a big mistake to have him back. Big mistake.
Yeah. No, exactly. You know, Peter says games after those four are just as tough. Those games there, Forest, who are currently down there with us, Villa, who look like a new sort of, you know, new thing under Emery, Southampton are down there with us. These games are just massive.
All three of those are at home, though. We can beat all three of those. I'm confident. If we get our confidence up, we can beat all three of those. Saints are nothing. We should have thrashed them down there. How we got a draw, I don't know. Forest, they won incredibly luckily. And Villa, 4-0 screamer from 40 yards in the top corner, I seem to remember. We won 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Let's have a look at Emery. Emery was a big miss from us. And the thing that Villa showed was a bit of ambition. They picked him out of a club. He wasn't a free agent. They got him out of Villarreal. They got him into Villa, and I think they'll be fine. I really do.
I agree.
You know, I know they lost his people, but you know, rather Tony Pulis over Benitez. If he comes and doesn't perform like he did in the past, we are done. West Ham will come good, says Lawrence. Peter, when is the next win coming from? Or the next goal? That's the worrying thing, Gary. That is the worrying thing about it.
I travel every game with belief, Jake. As you saw on Saturday, I'll be there on Saturday again at Everton. Me and Lauren will be going up, optimistic. So let's hope we can win Saturday.
Let's hope so. And you know, you know, I commend it. I do commend you for it. You were trying to stay positive at Wolves, and you said from a free kick, Skamaka's going to score it. I turned to you and went, "He's not, Gary." He's like, "Come on, show we got to have some positivity with it," and I like it.
It's the hope that kills you, Jake. So I'm always positive. One day I'll be right. Fingers
crossed. We all hope so. Peter says Saints won 3 on the trot. Forest have won 4 out of 5, and Villa turned the corner under Emery. Difficult game.
True.
It seems like every club, barring us and Everton, have got something going for them at the moment.
But I think, like I said at the start, we've got the squad, Jake. You look at our squad, and there's some good players there. It's not like previous relegation seasons. I looked at the team and thought, Jesus, this is a bad team. It's not a bad team. It's got a bad manager, bad tactics, and bad motivation. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Trini says nope, it's West Ham historically. We have only had 10 top 10 we have only had top 10 finishes back to back 3 seasons in a row in our whole history. It's the West Ham way that we do well, and I mean it's just unheard of how well we've actually done. But then to follow it up again 2 seasons in a row, it just wasn't going to happen, and it hasn't happened, you know, Gary.
Well, even we had more Hurst and Peters, we didn't win anything. So, you know, as Trini Harris is quite right. In our history, it's always been bad. But you know, we keep positive. We're all one family, and hopefully we can turn it around Saturday. I really hope it. I hope he's brave and picks the players in form, and then see how we get on.
He's got to show bravery, otherwise he's going to get the stuff anyway.
I agree with this message here. Perfect.
Yeah. Disabled teams, if the fans need to get behind the team, they need you now more than ever. Absolutely. Yeah, they do, and that's my worry. And a few people, I haven't managed to flick the comments up onto the screen, but a few people have said Everton have actually got the advantage because they're the away side. They haven't got as many fans there on their back. If we start badly, a couple of little errors in midfield, and you know we concede things, and we God forbid concede a goal, and we go 1-0 down, that place is going to turn an absolute hellhole because there's going to be
it will be difficult.
It's going to be more difficult, and you know the team that are away from home always have the advantage because they haven't got as many fans on their back, and I think that's 100% agreeable with. That's what it is.
Which is why the fans need to get behind the team at the start, and you know, get them positive, and let's get behind the team. I guess they'll start off with a tribute to David Gold. I guess a minute silence or something. On Saturday, so we'll have to see how that goes as well. Yeah,
Anthos says evening all before West Ham see the light of day, Sullivan and Brady need to clear off. People like Moyes would never be employed. You'd like to think with managers that want to be proactive and owners that want to be proactive and get things going, Moyes would have been sacked by now. But I think we all deep down knew, and I said to Nicky outside at Molineux on Saturday, I knew they wouldn't sack him on Saturday night. I just knew they wouldn't. And we talked about it going back to the car and on the way home, Gary. We just didn't think he'd get sacked, and he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. It's disappointing because if you run a business of that size, you need succession planning. So they should have something in place. They should have, part of a recruitment team is to look at up and coming managers in Europe. Same as Brighton and Brentford do. They find these people because they're aware that Potter would move on, so they got the replacement lined up, and that's exactly what we should have. We should have someone lined up ready to take over from Moyes. But it appears there's no one running the club in that way, which is disappointing.
What should happen is definitely what doesn't happen.
Exactly.
United.
Exactly.
Rafa will sign John Joe Shelby, says Luke. Peter says we're never building a good season. I was actually talking to some people at school today, and we sort of said West Ham and agreed that West Ham had those good seasons, but then in the windows, like during that, we had those 2 windows in the summer and in that January transfer window where we were all bemused. We were doing brilliantly in the top 4, the rest of it, but we didn't build on it. We didn't sign players. We didn't sign a striker. If we would have bought those players then I don't think we'd be in this mess, Gary.
Yeah, I agree. I think we didn't think big enough after that season. We come 5th or 6th. I think it was 6th. And then you got to look at people like Antonio. He's not a Premier League centre forward. He had a good run. But I think Moyes showed too much loyalty. He still does. Souček and Antonio and Cresswell. He shows too much loyalty to these people because they did a good job in the first season for him. And part of being a good manager is knowing, like Ferguson used to. He used to get rid of people right at their peak and replace them with people coming through it. It might have taken a year or 2 for them to get on, back to where they were, but he always had a plan. And we haven't got that at West Ham, unfortunately.
For sure. Hammerman TV says, Jake, it's the same thing for us fans. Don't back Lampard. But same thing for us. We don't back Moyes. That's the thing. And, it is El Sakiko, I think, on Saturday, because one of those managers, should you like to think, get sacked if there's a definitive result out of it, a win or a loss, one of them's going to get sacked for me. Victor says Moyes has a problem of buying players which he does not play. What's the meaning of that? And I'm not convinced all these players Moyes picked, because it's just a complete mismatch of players together. None of them really, fit together, and none of it really makes sense, Gary.
No, I mean, for sure, Flynn Downs was not a Moyes signing. He made it perfectly clear he don't like him. Ben Rama the same. He just, there's certain players he just doesn't like, and he makes it more than obvious he doesn't like them. So, but what I've seen of Flynn Downs, I like him. I think he's young, he's got potential. He's certainly better than Souček, in my opinion. I don't understand why he doesn't start above him. It's just beyond me. Yeah,
for sure. Let's have a look at some more of these comments then. Pray for a win, says Mark. Peter says more than happy. More than half the team of stroppy when it doesn't go their way. Not many came over. Against Wolves, Moyes sort of came halfway and realised he wasn't going to get a nice reception and just walked off. Well, one player that did come over and clap us for quite a while was a Gerd, and he sort of walked like half the way across, Gary, didn't he? And, but apart from that, not many at all.
Again, I don't believe that any player goes out and decides he's going to play badly. I just think it's, the confidence is down, and maybe they're getting told to play a certain way. And we need a little bit of luck. We certainly need, a goal like, even when Arsenal scored yesterday, when Loris threw it in, we need someone to do that for us. We need, an own goal or something just to give us a little bit of a break. That's what we need.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we can capitalise on it and get the confidence up. All it'll take is one good performance. We'll be okay. Hopefully.
Yeah. Steve Tilley says, hi Jake. Hi Jake and Gary. Maybe Moyes hasn't been sacked. Is because he's highly involved in the gold tribute on Saturday. Maybe that's something to do with it. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see what sort of happens with that. But hopefully we put on a nice tribute, of course, to our former co-owner David Gold, who passed away last week. Ruben says West Ham would be an amazing buy. 4 super clubs in London, massive fan base. I pray to God someone buys us and takes us to the next level. If we get like a sort of right owner, there's building blocks there to build sort of what Newcastle are doing there and being a force, but we're a million miles away from that at the moment, Gary.
We are. I saw somewhere the other day, we're either 3rd or 4th highest average attendance in Europe at West Ham. Yeah. So, there's no reason why we can't be a big club. We just need we need someone with big ambition. That's what we need. Yeah.
NW says Moyes out just for his transfers and use of new and youth players. The problem is clear. Moyes buys a player, then gradually moulds him into what he wants to do with the player. With so many coming in, he has just lost the plot. Can't wait for this weekend. I've loved Moyes and we have had the best times of late with him. But who's the best buy been in your eyes? Obviously, recent times, I'd probably say from that window, Agüero looks like the best signing he's made from that sort of, from this window for me, Gary.
Agüero's a good player. I still like Scamacca. I think the jury's. I think he'll come good. I think those two are good signings. Ariel hasn't played for some reason. He hasn't, just lost Fabianski. Kera looks good in places, and it's got a mistake in him. Unfortunately, it costs him a goal every game. Cornet's been injured all season. Who else we buy? Finn Downs. Obviously, I don't think that was a Moyes buy. I think that was a Warburton buy, and he doesn't like him. And who else we missed? I think that's about it.
That's about it. Yeah. Summed up very eloquently. Stevie G would be perfect. That's something I couldn't take. That's just one thing I couldn't take. We need pace. Let's bang on. Pace is what we need. And what we're lacking.
We do need some pace.
It's so blatantly obvious. Agüero was a Moyes signing 100%. I would pick Bielsa or Benitez, says Hammerman TV. Kraut, I understand he was crap when given his chance. Downs normally is man of the match. Yeah, you can't disagree, Ruben. Can you trust a man who bought Hugo?
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. What happened to him?
Yeah. Where's he? I think he's at Norwich nowadays, isn't he? I think.
Is he? I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah. Let's have a look here. Squirrel says, I can't believe Moyes doesn't utilise Flynn Downs. None of us can, I don't think.
No.
None of us
I like him.
Downs should be playing with Rice, definitely. Leaving the Areola situation, big going from him. He got injured just when he was going to get his chance, I think. So that's frustrating.
I think the Declan Rice thing's interesting as well because everyone knows he's going to leave in the summer, and to make him your captain, if your captain's not, how can I put it? You could argue he's not fully engaged with the project. Why is is that going to be good for morale if your captain's leaving?
Yeah, well, exactly. Him giving team talks and the players fully knowing that he's not going to be here in September. Maybe that's taking time as well with that sort of captain position. Gary says Downs is class. I saw him at Swansea. He is class. He is, and we can all see it. The problem is not in losing, but it's how we lose with Moyes. I don't think anything will change. Yeah, I agree. John says, I think Moyes has protected a young Downs. You would ruin him. You would ruin him expecting to excel in a team with no confidence. I think with Downs, it's just he's just not been given that opportunity, and seeing Souček there is just so frustrating to us all. But
I think when Downs has come in, he's stepped up to the plate. Even a couple of times he's played out of position on the right, and I think he's more of a central player. I think he's very confident in his own ability. He does the simple things well, and doesn't try to do things he's not good at, which is everything you want from a certain type of midfielder, which he is. He knows what he is, which is what I like in footballers. He don't try to be Ben Rama and beat 14 players. He's very solid and looks after the ball and breaks up play, and he's very good at that.
Yeah, for sure. Steve says, ideal team for Saturday, in my opinion, would be Areola, Soufal, Johnson, Zuma, Agüero, Rice, Bowen, Fornal, Scamacca, Paqueta, and Ben Rama. Ross says, please, God, not Benitez. This is ridiculous. He will take us down. So there we go. Moyes needs more time. Stick with him to the end of the season. I don't know if that's real or sarcastic, but I don't think I can take any more of it. I really don't think that. Anton says, I feel the same about the Spanish waiter, Rafa Benitez. There we go. Lee says, Moyes spent 180 million, but Lampard inherited a poor side and forced to sell Richarlison. More pressure on Moyes and Lampard. Lampard hates us. Everton under no pressure away. We may lose and it will be toxic. That's bang on.
Well, don't forget Everton got a point at City, didn't they? 3 weeks ago. So absolutely, he's right about the pressure. The pressure is definitely on West Ham on Saturday. Definitely. Yeah.
Troj says Downs was signed by Warburton's daughter through an agency. Imagine West Ham appointing a manager in a lowly position and then going out and getting his players behind Moyes' back. To be honest, I don't think it matters that much how he was brought in. He's a good player. He should be playing.
Exactly. Sometimes you've got to forget about pride. If you didn't like him before he comes in, you've got to look at the facts. And I don't want to pick Souček out because he's obviously not trying to be bad, but he has just been very bad this season. He does nothing in the game. We watched him on Saturday, Jake, that up close, and he seems to drift between the forwards and the midfielders. He don't pick anybody up. He doesn't contribute going forward. Technically, he's not a good footballer at all. You ask him to pass the ball, he struggles. He's good in the air, obviously, and he runs around a lot, but he doesn't actually do very much. I don't see his stats on Saturday, but he hardly touched the ball and just seems to be sort of running around out there, which you and I could do.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that is the bottom line of it. Steve says the worst result on Saturday would be a draw. Both sets of fans would not be happy. Luke says, as I said earlier, Rice is no Scotty Parker, kept us up on his own for 3 years, scored vital goals. Rice doesn't do that. If Moyes has sacked Alan Curbishley, it's a man to get the irons back to the top. What about that then, Gary? Oh, the head in your hands.
He's been out of football for years, hasn't he?
He has.
So, I think his days are gone.
Yeah. Steve says, no way can Creswell, Souček and Antonio be in a team in Saturday. Yeah, I agree. Just can't see them in that side. Need to change things. For sure. Let's scroll down some of these comments. We will start wrapping things up very, very shortly. So get your final comments into the chat. They're still coming in. Moyes has lost his dressing room. I think he's lost it for a long time, Gary.
I think he probably has. Yeah, I think the motivation, the way he treats players as well. I don't get it, because you look at the stats and Lanzini. I think I looked at a stat, and this 5 subs rule, we've used it once in the first game of the season. We haven't used it at all since then. We used the 4 subs twice outside injury time all season. So he doesn't change things up. But if you're sat on the bench and we're losing every week, which you are at the moment, you've got to be thinking, well, why can't I come on and make a difference? If you're losing, you can't do any worse than lose. So why doesn't he bring subs on? It just makes no sense. Because, if I was in this position, I think, right, let's try something, because I'm losing anyway. I might as well lose. You've got to go for it. You've got to gamble, put some players on. But he doesn't. Lanzini sits on the bench every week. Down sits on the bench every week. Johnson sits on the bench every week. So it's very strange.
Yeah. Oh, he just can't get my head around it. John says we need to get in Dyche. He will help organise the defence and bring out the best in players like Souček and Bowen.
Agreed.
My opinion. Lee says I can see Sean Dyche getting the manager's job until the end of the season. Not my choice, but it would be similar how we appointed Moyes. You're a big fan of trying to see Dyche, Gary.
Yeah, I think Lee's right there. I do think Dyche is underrated. I really do. I think, he had his, hands tied to a large degree at Burnley before miracles got him into Europe one season, I think. And I think he did a good job with us. Sure. Long term, maybe not, but I think certainly for 6 months he'd be fine. Yeah.
Do some football fans forget what Rafa did with Newcastle? More incredible, he did it under Mike Ashley. Just to sort of touch back onto that then. Do you think people are being harsh on Rafa, Gary?
I think the old Rafa, but I think the new Rafa, I think he's just getting old. I think, like everybody, he's just past it. And I think Mike Ashley was not a good owner, but he's almost like West Ham. He didn't want to invest to take the club forward. He invested to keep the club where they were. Ashley's a very good businessman. Say what I like about him, but he's a good businessman. I think Newcastle ran out of profit, which is unheard of, and he did just enough to keep in the Premier League. So I know they got relegated a couple of times, but he always went straight back up. So he's a good businessman, and I think that's what ultimately Sullivan and Gold were are businessmen. Yeah.
Steve says the thing that drives me nuts are crossing from corners or free kicks. What do they do? This is what I say. What do they do all week in training? Because I'll throw-ins.
Steve, 100% right, and also throw-ins as well.
Throw-ins, yeah. Awful, absolutely awful. Do we need 2 defensive midfielders every game, Gary?
No, but we do sometimes. I mean, there's a massive hole in midfield on Saturday. You could see this, huge gap. Rice was trying to, cover everything as though Souček was wandering around doing nothing. Paqueta, I'm not really sure where he's trying to play in the second half. First half he was good. Second half he was terrible. And it's just, we need some sort of structure in the team. I think that there's a lot of zonal marking going on, and I'm a big believer in man marking. Even the goal, that I'm not blaming Bowen at all, but he ran all the way back with what's his name? The guy that's called Pedence, and then just let him go to score. So it's very strange. Bowen thought at least he'd be back in his position, but no, he should have ran with the man as he did all the way back, and then just let him go through.
Exactly. Luke says, would you take Konchesky, of course, now West Ham women's manager? Don't know. I don't know. Not sure.
I don't know enough about him, to be honest.
No, neither do I.
I think it'd be a massive gamble.
Yeah.
No senior experience in the Premier League.
Yeah. 4 points from the next 5 games. That's us doomed. Moyes needs to go and take Suchek. I'll tell you what, even getting 4 points. So what's the next 5 games? We've got Wolves. Not
Everton.
Everton, Newcastle, Chelsea, Spurs, and is it Forest?
Forest, yeah.
So that's
I can see us getting some points. Everton and Forest, hopefully. The other 3 can be difficult.
Fingers crossed. Let's hope so. Simon, hope you are well, sir. Let's scroll down on some of these comments. Not Benitez, please, says Ross. Kirbishley hasn't had a job since we sacked him.
Yeah, it's been a long time, yeah.
Peter says, Cotty got a chance at 17. We have Mubamba and Marshall, similar age, banging in the goals. Can't get any worse right now, can it? Epic Cash time. It is literally not possible for any manager to do any worse than Moyes is doing right now. I'd take anyone at this point. Chris says, want to see Noble coming in until the end of the season, then reassess the situation. Yeah, I agree. All of my comments have just skipped, so I'll try and get back to where I was, but there's still loads of them coming in. Keep your comments coming in. We've got over 200 of you still in here. We're on 134 likes. Let's get these likes up. Hit the like button. Subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you haven't already. As West Ham are in crisis, trying to or reportedly looking to find a new manager or not, or to stick with David Moyes. Who knows at this point? Who knows? Joseph says, how is Moyes feeling about should it become a championship manager, as that is the way it's going? It certainly is. Simon says, Tuchel is a great manager and West Ham would be lucky. Not a chance we're getting him, I'm afraid. Not a chance. Sean says the new West Brom manager should be looked at. Yeah. A good attacking sort of, don't get me wrong, it's a gamble, which I don't think the Bull will be prepared to take, but it's an option. Moyes is unable to activate players like Paqueta and Scamacca, and he is using them completely wrong. Scamacca operates way better when someone fast and agile creates space and provides it for him. That's bang on.
It is bang on. I mean, Scamacca scored all sorts of goals from outside the area, inside the 6-yard box, inside the penalty box. You give him a chance to score, but as you say, he's just been used in the wrong places at the moment. Like I said earlier, I honestly think if he signed Mbappe and Messi, he'd play them in the wrong position. Yeah.
Hammer Time says Deutsch will go to whoever gets sacked first on Saturday. That is literally it. Stevie G can do one for that FA Cup goal. He certainly can.
Yeah, good goal there.
I would put Kevin Keane in as caretaker manager, bring back Stuart Pearce. Could we see both managers sacked? Whatever happens, a draw and both get sacked, Lampard and Moyes.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
Could happen. WG58 says, personally, I would appoint our under 18 and 21 coaches as temporary caretaker managers, play some of our youth. Anthor says, I vote for the tea lady at Chagwell Heath. She'll do a better job on the touchline. Instead of trying to buy a new striker, how about playing on one we've already got? Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with Scamacca at all. Nothing at all.
No. Yeah, nothing wrong there at all. Right, I've made it to the bottom of the comment section. Thank you, everybody who has joined in. I think we will start wrapping it up. Gary, let's have some sort of final thoughts.
Well, like I said, I just want the fans to be positive on Saturday. Let's go in and really try and cheer the lads on. I do believe we've got the players to do something, and Everton are not in the best of shape. I think they will come set up not to lose. I think they will definitely come not to lose. So we have to come, unlike Moyes, not to lose, otherwise it's the most boring 0-0 in history. We have to come to attack and really try to break them down, and let's have a go. Let's have a go. Let's be positive. We can beat Everton. There's no reason why we can't. No reason at all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's just trying to take as much positivity into it as possible. Within reason. We can't go in thinking we're gonna go and beat them 2 or 3-0 because because it's just not going to happen, and I think it's unrealistic. But we've got to try and take an element of hope for Moyes as well, whether it's for Moyes' sake or not, for the players' sake, to try and get something out of it. Because yes, we all want Moyes sacked, and the only way of that happening currently with the board is for us to lose. But I don't want West Ham to lose, because we're in a very perilous and volatile situation at the moment. Whereas if we lose this game, we go into 3 really difficult games. If we get nothing out of that, the chances we're going to be rooted to the bottom of that league and only going one way, and it's the Sky Bet AFL Championship, Gary.
Yeah, and all the players will go because none of them will play in the Championship. You know, we've got a strong squad there. You know, we've got some good players. We've got Brazil internationals. We've got Italy centre forward. We've got Moroccan centre back. We've got a very good spine of the team. And I honestly think with Aguero and Zuma playing together on the weekend for the first time, hopefully, touch wood, that will make a big difference. If he plays Skamaka up front and drops Souček, we'll have a chance.
Yeah. Oh, let's hope so. Play the right players, and you never know what might happen.
Exactly.
Literally, everybody, thank you very much to everybody in the chat tonight. It's gone absolutely ballistic. We've reached highs of nearly 300 people watching. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining in. And my guests as well, Mike at the start, and everybody else who's come on, and Gary for sticking with me at the end. Long time no see, my friend, but thank you very much indeed, Gary, for joining me. Let's just see what happens. We'll be back with more West Ham coverage. Coming up on West Ham Unofficial tomorrow night, we'll have an interview with John Coleman from Football London, who did break the news first, pretty much from a reliable source, that this news was false. So we'll be talking to him tomorrow night, hopefully. We'll do a Premier League roundup show tomorrow night, which was rescheduled from tonight after this big breaking news. We've got an interview with an ex-Hammer on Wednesday. We'll have some other video coming out Thursday, as well as a preview on Friday out of that absolutely massive relegation 20-pointer against Everton that comes up on Saturday. Plenty to come. Stay locked in right here on West Ham Unofficial. Gary, there's only one thing left to say, my friend.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons. I'm going to catch you soon. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Gary. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. See you soon.
Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.